All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Lawyered Up. I am your host, Jared Moore. And usually I would tell you if you have a question about today's topic, pop it into the chat, but I don't know if I'm going to be of any use today because we're in a little bit of uncharted territory. The first thing we're going to be talking about is some recusals in the Freedman case, and then we're going to talk about an emergency session that happened today with the council. So let's start off with the recusals. We have confirmed, let me pop this up on the screen for you guys. We have confirmed that through the Supreme Court that justices let's see here, Leah Harjo-Ware, which is this justice, and Justice Amos McNack, which is the Vice Chief Justice, they have recused themselves from the Freedman case, and that's the Kennedy case or the Grayson case, however you want to put it. Okay, so that's the first news. The second news is that there was an emergency session held today at 12 noon, and amongst the legislation there was these two TRs, TR 24-073, which is a tribal resolution of the Mvskoke Creek Nation confirming the nomination of James Jennings to serve as a special justice of the Supreme Court of the Mvskoke Creek Nation, and TR 24-074, which is the same thing except for Mr. Samuel Deere. Now, those two names sound familiar. Mr. Jennings ran for the Okmulgee seat B, I believe it was, in the most recent 2023 election, and Mr. Deere ran for Mvskoke District in 2021, and neither of them won. But Mr. Jennings had been on the council before. So let's click through Mr. Jennings' TR and see what it says, because you may be asking yourself, what is a special Supreme Court justice, Jared? And I hadn't heard of it either, but let's read some of it. It says here, Section 2, Article 7 of the Constitution of the Mvskoke Creek Nation requires the Supreme Court to be composed of 7 members, and whereas pursuant to NCA 24-077, remember that for a minute, for any reason one or more Supreme Court justices recused from a case, special justices shall be appointed to ensure that 7 justices hear the case. And whereas Principal Chief and Speaker of the National Council have been notified, yada, yada, yada. So they're saying that the authorization to do this comes from NCA 24-077. Let's go back and check that, because guess what? That's also on this agenda. So not only are these nominations and confirmations on here, but also we have NCA 24-077, which is entitled A Law of the Mvskoke Creek Nation amending Title 27, Judicial Procedures. Let's click through to that. So in this, and by the way, guys, this stuff all passed. This last 077 that we're looking at now passed unanimously. So what they're saying here is they're going to edit the code so that it's going to add this section right here, B, right? If for any reason one or more Supreme Court justices recuse from a case, special justices shall be appointed to ensure that 7 justices hear the case. The procedure for appointment of special justices shall be as follows. Upon recusal of any Supreme Court justice from a case, the clerk of the Supreme Court shall immediately notify the Principal Chief and the Speaker of the National Council in writing. The Principal Chief shall nominate special justices within 30 days of the notification by the clerk of the Supreme Court. All special justice nominations shall be confirmed by a majority approval of the National Council. Special justices shall be Mvskoke Creek citizens who have not been convicted of a felony in a court of competent jurisdiction. Special justices shall only serve until the conclusion of the case for which they have been appointed. A final adjudication on the merits of the case at issue shall be stayed in the Supreme Court until the required number of special justices are nominated and confirmed provided, however, during the interim period when seating a special justice, the Supreme Court may decide motions and other procedural issues. 6. Any appointed special justice shall be compensated pursuant to the provisions of MCNA Title 26, 3-102D in the same manner as a Supreme Court justice. In the event a special justice is not seated under this section within 90 calendar days of the date the court clerk notifies the principal chief and the Speaker and National Council of any recusal, the Supreme Court may proceed to adjudicate the merits of the case as long as a minimum of 4 justices are seated to any judgment or decision. Okay, so let's run through a couple of things that are interesting here. And you may not know, but the Constitution doesn't require our justices to be lawyers, so there's no requirement here that these individuals be lawyers, so that's why James Jennings can be nominated and confirmed, and Samuel Deere could be nominated and confirmed. I did want to show you guys one more thing on along these lines. So just to recap where we are right now, 2 justices have recused, Leah Harjo-Ware and Amos McNack. And then they are going to be replaced on the Freedman case by James Jennings and Samuel Deere. Okay? And this all happened, and that was made possible by this legislation that was also passed in the same session. So they nominated and confirmed the guys and passed the legislation which created the positions for them to be nominated and confirmed into, all in the same session. Okay. In an emergency session. So citizens didn't have time to look at any of this or give their input, and that's the way that they normally do it with emergency sessions. So I did want to mention one more thing. Mr. Jennings ran in 2023, and it just so happens that he was asked specifically about this case. I'm going to pop it up on the screen. And you can see there at the bottom in the chat, Laura Shirley is asking, what is your position on the Creek-Freedman case? I'm going to put my little headphones on and play this for you guys so you can hear it too. All right. Laura Shirley asks, what is your position on the Creek-Freedman case?
My opinion on the Freedman case is that if elected, I will support and defend the Mvskoke Creek Nation Constitution, which states it's by blood.
Okay. All right, guys. So there you can see, I don't know how you can nominate him and think that he's going to go against what he just said there, right? It looks like, there's no requirement for a Supreme Court justice at the Creek Nation to be a lawyer or have any, they're not required to be neutral in any way. So that's one vote, right? Now, Mr. Samuel Deere, he did run in 2021, but I went back and looked through our candidate videos, and it doesn't look like he did a candidate video with us. So I don't know what his opinion on it is specifically. And also, that was in 2021. That was a long time ago. People can change their mind about things even if he did. 2023, though, I doubt Mr. Jennings has changed his mind in a year or become has decided another way. So that's where we are. That was the update for today, is that now the Creek Nation can put up, anytime a Supreme Court justice recuses themselves from a case, the Supreme Court clerk is supposed to notify the Speaker and the principal chief when that happens, and the chief is supposed to nominate a special justice to take that justice's place. Let me see if it's I want to check one thing, make sure I'm not giving you guys is it 1 or 2? Yes, it says upon recusal of any Supreme Court justice from a case. So anytime any Supreme Court justice recuses themselves, from now on, the court clerk has to notify the Speaker and the principal chief, and a special justice has to be appointed within 90 days. If they don't aren't able to meet that deadline, the Supreme Court may proceed to adjudicate the merits of the case as long as a minimum of 4 justices are seated to issue any judgment or decision. All right. I think we've covered all the bases there, guys. And just a reminder, if you didn't catch our previous episode, the Freedman case is going to have oral arguments on July 26th, that Friday. And go check out the previous Lawyered Up, because we give all the details, because there's very stringent requirements on if you're going to attend it in person. And we are going to see if it streams onto the Supreme Court's website. I'll just show you guys really quick. You can see sometimes here on the front page, they have a video cube there, and sometimes they will stream oral arguments that are held in the council chambers, just like the Freedman case will be, and maybe they will have it in this thing. But we're going to do both things. I'm going to go to the oral arguments and take my notepad, and then we're also going to have somebody back here to see if we can fire this up if it happens. So with that being said, Mado, what's coming up next? This week we're premiering an interesting series if you're into gardening. We're going to premiere a series we did in conjunction with the College of the Mvskoke Nation's Extension Office. It's called Mvskoke Gardening, and we're going to release those maybe every Wednesday. It might get released Tuesday, I'm not for sure, but it'll be a recurring series where it'll release about probably 5 o'clock each day, and we'll go until we run out of episodes. So keep your eyes out for that if you're into gardening. And with all that being said, Mado for watching Lawyered Up, and we'll see you again in the future. Chihicha, please.